Hi everyone, it's Jennifer from Auburn Yoga and Pilates, back again to do another yoga class. It'll be gentle yoga tonight, and we're going to be focusing on back bends. So if you do have yoga props, please grab them, otherwise I'm sure you'll be able to improvise. Let's get started. So we'll start in a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you. And if you've been following along, you know that that means that you can sit on a pillow or a blanket if it's more comfortable for you. You may be more apt to be able to lengthen your spine and relax your hips. If it's not comfortable for your knees in this position, you can always use pillows or blocks or folded towels and place them under your knees. And then we'll inhale all the air we can fit through our nose. And exhale slowly out our mouths. And again, inhaling through the nose all the air you can fit. Exhaling slowly out your mouth. And then again, one more time, inhaling through your nose, all the air you can fit. Exhaling slowly out your mouth. Now, if you can, change that breath to a completely nostril breath. Keep the depth, but let both the inhale and the exhale go through the nose. You can close your eyes and you can turn that attention inward into the present moment. It's so easy to take the past and try to project the past onto the future, or to let the future sort of run away with us. But really, all that we have control over is the present moment. So really taking your attention in and just trying to be aware of where you are, how you are at this moment. Don't even worry about 5 minutes from now. Literally trying to keep your attention on this present moment. And while you're here in your present moment, try to think of something or someone that you are grateful for. So if you're watching this on the day it was recorded, and you're in the northeast of the United States, you got to enjoy a beautiful sunny spring day today. Maybe you're grateful for the sunshine. Maybe you're grateful for the opportunity to take this time for yourself and practice yoga, doing this class. Maybe you're grateful for a friend or a loved one who is especially significant to you in the present moment. Whatever it is, or who it is, that you selected, try to visualize yourself enjoying it or enjoying them. So maybe you are taking a walk in that sunshine. Of course, if you are focused on being grateful for taking yoga right now, you really are in the moment. Or visualizing that friend or loved one who you are so grateful for. And really be in that moment. Put yourself in that sunny scene. Become consciously aware of how you feel grateful to be able to be practicing yoga at this time. Or picture yourself enjoying an experience with that friend or loved one. Create a detailed picture. Of course, make sure you're in it. And then add scents, sounds, overall feeling, really absorb it. Let those feelings of gratitude spread to all the different parts of your body, just like they're radiating out, like they're glowing. And then just staying in this place for 2 minutes. And then deepening your breath, bringing yourself back to the room. Switching across of those legs, beginning to circle that spine. So starting to wake up that back. You have those chakras, those energy centers that go from your tailbone up through the crown of your head. Think of them as little circular balls of energy that travel up and down your spine, reverse direction. And you want to try to get those energy centers spinning. and then holding it in the center. Then if you have blocks, we're going to come into a supported back bend for just a bit. So if you have blocks, you can set them up in this orientation, medium and high, or modified, you could do low and medium. If you do not have blocks, you can substitute a pillow and maybe a beach towel or a firm blanket. You could take it and you could make a fairly dense roll. You really want to try to make it as compact as possible so that it is pretty dense. You don't want it to be that loosey-goosey. And then you could use this roll. You can see that it is almost the height of my block. Of course, it'll go down a little bit because it has give and the block doesn't, but fairly similar if you don't have the block at home right now. So coming down, placing those shoulder blades against the block, and then the back of the skull on the other block. And it does take some wiggling. Obviously, I'm pretty good about knowing how far apart they should be after doing this hundreds of times. But when you first start off, you don't know where they need to be. So take the time, make those adjustments. You want to make sure that this block here does actually go across those shoulder blades. So that flat spot that occurs when the heads of your shoulders fall back is where those shoulder blades rest. So if it feels pinchy, you want to adjust. You want to make sure that you find the place where you feel like it feels pretty delightful. Your palms are upward facing, and modified, you're going to keep your legs bent. More advanced, you're going to lengthen those legs. So still breathing just as deeply as we were when we were in a seated position. You still want to feel both your chest and your belly move while you're breathing here in this position. Unless there's a reason not to, those palms are upward facing. And you're really trying to breathe space into your chest. Trying to get more and more spacious. So obviously, any type of back bend that we practice helps keep the back hopefully healthy, strong, and flexible. You've got that advantage of opening the front body, counterposing those things that we usually do for too long, like stay at our computers, stay at our steering wheels. In those cases, our shoulders round forward and our upper back overstretches and weakens. Our chest muscles get tight. This gives us an opportunity for those chest muscles to open. And then bending those legs, planting those feet, rolling over to the side, moving those blocks out of the way. But holding on to one block, and you can use a pillow if you don't have a block, or a dense blanket. Really anything you can squeeze into will work. We're going to come down supine, bend those legs, plant those feet, place that block somewhere over your knees on your inside thighs. Walk those heels in towards those hips. Keep those feet parallel to each other. Keep the weight on the upper back, never on the neck. And then lift those hips up toward the ceiling. Both feet are completely grounded. You want to feel all four corners of both feet in contact with that mat. Now, without actually moving your feet, so your feet, they're not going to move. But imagine that you are on a slippery floor and that you are going to slide your heels closer to your hips in a quick movement. Do that, and hopefully you got a little bit more contraction in the hamstring and the glute, and those hips lifted just a little bit higher. Again, holding it here. Dropping those hips down, removing that block. You decide whether you want to rock up or roll to your side and lift up. And then coming into an all fours position on that mat. If you were watching last night, you heard me say that no yoga class is complete without kneeling cat and cows. I truly believe that. So from here, you want your big toes to point straight back, your wrist creases to be parallel to the short end of the mat, and then let that pelvis spill toward the floor. Chest is open, pulling the heads of the shoulders back, and then switch direction. And move between cat and cow. So obviously here, when we come into that cow pose, we're going into that back bend. Engage your abdominals slightly so it's like your abdominal muscles are a tray. Supporting the vertebrae and organs, your torso. And then holding a neutral spine and letting those hips fall back toward those heels. You can stretch those arms out in front for an extended child. You can bring your arms by your side, or you can use your fists or your forearms to stack and create a little support for your forehead. Maybe you rest right on that third eye, that space between your brows. Coming up to an choose what pose works best for you. Lengthening that spine either way. And then dropping those knees, dropping those hips, coming back to rest in another child's pose. And then coming forward into a modified plank pose and slowly lowering down to your mat. Those toes point behind you. Now you may end up needing a belt or a strap if you have one, or you may be fine without it. Interlacing your hands behind your back. So if you have a tight chest or any shoulder issues, you'll find you want to use a strap. Your thumbs are out, your pinkies are in. You want to squeeze your upper back and lift. You want to engage your inner thighs and your hamstrings. Your glutes can engage, but try not to grip them. And now release and let your head rest to the right side. Those palms turn into an upward facing position. So right here, you're basically taking that opportunity to rest all those back body muscles that you just worked. But not surprisingly, we're going to come back up. Now, come into an awkward clasp, different thumb, different forefinger on top, or use a strap again, coming back up. Those knuckles are pressing back, straight back behind you. Those hands are lifted off the back body, ideally. That's where a strap will come in handy if you're a little congested. In this variation, the tops of the feet stay down. And coming down, resting your head to the opposite side. So resting your head to the left. Even something as simple as this sometimes showcases different imbalances or tightnesses in your body. And then taking those hands by those side ribs, lifting yourself up into an all fours position. And then again, walk the hands forward to come into puppy dog or come into down dog once again. Entirely up to you. Either way, your ears land basically directly between your arms. Drop those knees and drop those hips, coming back to child's pose. Remembering that if you have existing knee issues and the knee flexion bothers you, you can always stuff a blanket or a towel at that knee crease, and that will help you reduce the amount of flexion in the knee, still allowing you to get the other benefits of child's pose. And then coming forward into a modified plank and slowly lowering down to your mat. This time, taking your arms by your side with your fingers pointing to the back of the room. So those arms are in external rotation. Now, some people like to keep their arms fairly long. Some people enjoy tenting their elbows and fingers. Engage the upper back, lift, coming into another variation of cobra. So a modified cobra, another variation of it. Keep those elbows pinned behind the shoulders regardless of what you do. Try not to let them go out to the side. Tops of the feet stay grounded in this variation. Drop down, rest your head to the right, palms turn up. Externally rotating those arms again so the palms face down. Again, you choose tent your fingers or don't tent your fingers. Lift your sternum. Your head's a natural extension of your spine, so you're not struggling to look higher than you need to. Let the lift come from that sternum. And let your head rest to the opposite side. Take those hands by your side body and press yourself back up into an all fours position. Now, if you have sensitive knees, you can pad your knees, or if you're on a softer surface or you have cooperative knees, you can stay where you are. Stepping that right leg forward, coming into a knee down lunge, and sweeping those arms up. Getting heavy through those hips. Now, you can interlace your hands behind you. If you're a little congested in the arms or the chest, once again, use a strap. Thumbs are out, pinkies are in, knuckles press back. So, inhale, open the chest. Exhale, engage the upper back. Notice how engaging the upper back helps to pull the heads of the shoulders back. Also sink through those hips on that exhalation. And release. Taking those hands beside that front foot, you can always put them on blocks or books. Slide that leg back. Take that opposite leg forward. So once again, coming into that knee down crescent position. Inhaling those arms up. Exhaling those hands behind you. So use an awkward clasp or utilize a belt or a strap. Really anything will work. A dish towel. Anything that lets you grab the ends or somewhere relatively close to the end. And then reaching those knuckles back. Once again, inhale space into your chest. Exhale, engage the upper back and sink through those hips. Little micro movements. And release. Take those hands beside the front foot. Curl the back toe under. Lift the back knee. Take a big step forward. Coming into a forward fold. So micro bend in your knee. Place your hands on blocks or books or anything else that you can improvise to use as a prop if you need it. Heart forward, head forward, fold forward, inhale, sweep those arms up, and exhale those arms down. Really rooting down through your feet. Feet are a comfortable distance apart. And then inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale, sweep those arms down. Inhale, heart forward, head forward, fold forward. Inhale, sweep those arms up. Exhale those arms down. So a variation on that sun salutation again, inhaling up, exhaling down. Heart forward, head forward, fold forward, sweep those arms up, and just make it a moving meditation, moving with your own breath. Notice how you naturally lengthen and expand as you inhale. And sort of contract as you exhale. And one more time. And exhale down. Now, if you have a belt, and it doesn't have to be specifically a yoga belt, obviously, if you have one, it's helpful, but it could basically be a relatively small belt, like a belt for your pants that you may have. And we're going to take the belt and loop it. So obviously, if it's a traditional belt, you can just find one of those belt loops, and you're probably going towards the smaller side. Now, I may have to adjust this. But what we're going to do is we're going to, and you can obviously drop it down onto the floor, we're going to step into the loop so that the loop makes our thighs parallel to each other. So you don't have to do this standing because we're going to come supine. I'm just sort of demonstrating that this is pretty much where you would want your strap to be. You can even use a scarf to do this. The reason that we're doing this is we're going to try to prevent ourselves from inadvertently cheating and bringing our thighs wider than your hips, because I'm restricted. I can't come out any wider than this. So once you've created that shape, coming down onto your mat and coming up into a Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx, you're up resting on your elbows. Your elbows are either directly under your shoulders or slightly ahead of your shoulders. Please try to avoid bringing the elbows behind the shoulders, because look what happens. You collapse into that pose. You want to try to stay lifted through your chest. You want to try to keep the integrity in your shoulders. Modified, you can always come into a little cobra pose, or you could drop down and rest if you need to. So, that belt or that scarf is keeping those thigh bones parallel to each other. And then your left arm is going to angle in at about a 45-degree angle. So it's like your left hand moves so that it's almost touching the right hand. Now keep the integrity in your chest and your shoulders and bring that right heel in toward your right glute. Now this may be where you stay. For some people, it's a tremendous back bend for some people, because this is a place we don't usually go. So for some bodies, you're not used to it. If you feel comfortable, you can reach around and grab the inside of your foot. And the reason that you're grabbing the inside of your back foot is so that the shoulder can go into external rotation. And then my rib cage did spin a little bit toward the long end of my mat. I'm trying to bring it so that my ribs are forward facing again. You should feel a pretty big stretch through your right shoulder, your right bicep, and the pectorals on the right side, those chest muscles. Obviously, if it's too strong, let go. Those of you who are a little bit more flexible, maybe a little stronger, you'll be able to press your hand against your foot against your hand. And release. Come down and rest in crocodile. That is stacking those forearms and resting your forehead on top of those forearms. It's a great stretch, a great release for the back. So in this pose, your back is not doing any work, it's resting. It's on top. And then coming back up to Sphinx. So again, pay attention to where the elbows are. Either under your elbows or slightly ahead of your elbows, please. And then take your right hand so that it moves towards your left hand. That right forearm is at a 45-degree angle. Now, just lifting this leg may be enough of a shift, enough of a back bend for you to work on here. And remember, the timetable is up to you. If it gets to be too much, listen to your body and rest. If you're able to, take that left hand, externally rotate it, grab a hold of the inside of that foot, spin those ribs toward the short end of your mat. Again, find what feels like a good opening in your chest, shoulder, and bicep. So yes, we're back bending, but hopefully you're noticing that it's not only the back that's benefiting. And release, and coming into crocodile. From here, coming into one more for the back body, taking those arms by your side. Your palms can face your hips, or your palms can face the floor. It's up to you. That strap is still making sure that you're keeping those thigh bones parallel. You can choose to do just upper body, you can choose to do just lower body, or you can do both upper and lower body. Lift. Reach those fingers back towards your feet. Pull the heads of the shoulders back. Lengthen those legs. And rest. Take those hands beside you. Lift yourself up to an all-fours position and make your way out of your belt. So we have been going for about 40 minutes, so we'll actually do a few poses in a supine position now. So coming back, and grabbing hold of that belt. Now, it doesn't really make much difference. You can keep the loop the same size. Some people like making a smaller loop. But placing that loop around the ball of your right foot, placing the strap right against the ball of the right foot, coming in to a hamstring stretch. Now, if you're able to, you can lengthen that left leg. If it's too much, keep that leg bent. You want to direct your right sitting bone toward the inner arch of the left foot so that your waist is symmetrical. You want a nice, strong stretch through the hamstring. And then release, bringing your knee into your chest. Bending that leg, planting that foot, and then trying the same thing on the other side. So taking that strap around the ball of the foot. Lengthening those legs if you can. Moving your left sitting bone in the direction of your right inner arch. Also directing that pinky toe towards your belly button. If your foot is sneaky like mine, it shifted into sort of the, I'll say, a little bit of an escape plan. If you want more sensation, direct that left pinky toe toward the belly button. And then bringing your knee to your chest, removing that strap, placing the strap over to the side, bending your legs, planting your feet. You can take your arms directly out to the sides, or you can bring them into goalposts. Ideally, the palms are up. And then taking that right leg, crossing it over your left. Lift your hips, swing the hips to the right. Rest on the outside of your left hip, so your spine is parallel to the long end of the mat. Let those legs drop to the left. Nice spinal twist. After those back bends, this should feel especially delightful. If it's comfortable, look to the right. If it's not, don't worry about it. then bringing those legs back up to center and bringing those hips back up to center. Uncrossing those legs and then switching sides. Taking that left leg, crossing it over the right. Lifting those hips, swinging those hips over to the left this time. Resting on the outside of the right hip. Align your spine so that it's parallel to the long end of the mat. And let those legs drop to the right. Ideally, the shoulders stay down and the gaze goes left. So hopefully we have happy backs after tonight's practice, working to make them strong, working to keep them flexible. And then bringing those legs back up to center, uncrossing those legs, bringing those hips back to center if you have not already. And then finding a place for final relaxation. So really finding that place where you can get completely comfortable. If you have a pillow, you may want to place it under your knees or under your feet. If you have a blanket, you may want to place it over you for warmth. Sometimes the body cools down a little bit after we were moving for the last almost hour. Or sometimes people like taking a folded blanket and placing it on their hips or their thighs for the weight to help them feel grounded. Really allowing yourself to relax. With those exhales, try to let any tightness or tension that remains just leave your body and float away. So in that, with every single exhale, you feel more and more relaxed, more and more grounded. Connected to the earth. Connected to your body. Connected to your thoughts. Feel free to pause the video and stay longer if you'd like. Otherwise, starting to wiggle those fingers, those toes, eventually bringing more movement into your arms and your legs. And then once you've brought your awareness back into the room, rolling to one side, eventually coming up to a seated position. Finding what feels like a comfortable seat. Lifting up through the top of that head, taking a nice deep breath in. Bringing those hands down to heart center. The light within me salutes the light within you. Namaste. Well wishes to the Auburn Yoga and Pilates Center family and beyond if you're joining us from somewhere different. So I hope all of you are well. Take care, and we will be back with more videos for you soon. Tomorrow, in fact. So stay tuned. You can find them on Facebook Live, or you can subscribe to the Auburn Yoga and Pilates Center YouTube channel. Thanks again.